Hi and welcome back to this beautiful space of mine. Today is called anti-gravity. So I've called it anti-gravity because it's part of our abdominal series that we're doing and we're focusing on the anti-gravity muscles today. So anti-gravity muscles are the muscles that defy gravity. I should call this defying gravity, shouldn't I? Or is that too on the nose with wicked? So if we were to give in to gravity, we would walk around in quite a slumped posture, right? So those muscles that require us to stand up straight are the muscles that are anti-gravity. They're also the muscles that when we're standing straight allow our stomach muscles to reach a relaxed position. So they're not shortened and they're not lengthened. So nice and relaxed. The next challenge to not only work these anti-gravity muscles is also to work our abdominal muscles across gravity. So rather than working our abdominals in this position where gravity is coming straight down, we want to add a little bit more challenge to them, which is why a lot of abdominal work is done on your back because abdominals are then perpendicular to gravity, or we're doing it in a kneeling position, so a 4-point kneel. Now this, you can imagine if you just let your stomach muscles go, this is allowing gravity to overcome the muscles. If we're thinking of lifting our tummy up, then we're working against gravity. So we're adding a little bit more of a challenge to what we're doing here. So if you want to familiarise yourself with your stomach, just the basic rectus abdominis, get a little bit of activation. I've got a beautiful 15 to 20 minute class that I called, what did I call it? Straight-laced. But this one, anti-gravity, we're going to primarily be working in that 4-point kneel position. If that position doesn't feel good for your wrists at any time, please just pause it, come off, give your wrists a little bit of a shake. You can also use a chair. So I may even film at a later stage a bit of a modification of this class so that if you need a chair, you know how you can use one in this circumstance. So this ab series is perfect for if you're coming back to exercise, if you really need to work back into understanding how your stomach muscles work, if you've been feeling that when you start to exercise more, your back is starting to hurt. More often than not, it's because we need a little bit more stability and efficiency in our trunk muscles. This class is for you, it's for me. So come into a 4-point kneeling position. And what we're going to do from here is bend. So if you're hypermobile, I should point out, whenever you're in this 4-point kneeling position, you're going to try and have the elbow creases facing one another, which may not feel totally normal to you. You might want to actually come up or pop all the way out to the front. That for you is a very stable position because the joint is locking. It's not great for the muscles. It's locking into the joint and putting all the force through the joint, and the muscles can't actually do their work to protect the joint itself. So by thinking of that elbow crease facing the other elbow crease, we're allowing the muscles to kick in. And you can see my arm isn't overextending. So that's the position that I want you to be mindful of staying in as much as you can. And because it's hard to remember to stay in that position, I'm going to quite consistently bring you into and out of that position to challenge that very idea. So in that 4-point kneel, first thing we're going to do, I want you to think of having the chest or the breastbone right in between the hands. Then we're going to fold back toward our feet and bend our elbows, touch them on the ground, come back up again, tuck the toes under and hover the knees off the ground. And we repeat this a couple more times. Bending, tucking, lifting. And down. Bending, tucking, lifting. Each time we come into that hover, I want you to make sure that breastbone is, or the sternum, is right in between your hands. So you should be starting to feel a little bit of a challenge in the upper body. A little bit of challenge potentially in the upper back depending on how strong they're feeling. Good. Beautiful. Now from here, keep in that 4-point kneel position, and I want you to just bring one knee off the ground. It's going to move back and forth. And I want you to bring that knee toward the same elbow and then toward the opposite elbow. Toward the same elbow and the opposite elbow. You're doing this 10 times. If you need more challenge, you're doing it in the hover position. You're bringing it to the same elbow and the opposite elbow hovering. So keep swinging. So we're being very gentle on our abdominals, but we're also forcing them to not only work against gravity, but to help our hip flexors. Bring the knee up. Swap sides when you're ready. Same elbow, opposite elbow. Same elbow and opposite. Remember, you can be in that hover position if you want more of a challenge. Couple more. Now we're going back to our fold and our hover. And our fold and our hover. So when we're starting to build motor control, so motor control is how well the brain can tell the body what it needs to do. We need repetition, and we also want to start to challenge a bit of the endurance of those muscles as well, because a lot of the muscles we're working on at the moment, the stabilizing muscles, require more, well, yeah, they need to work for the, most of the day. So they need endurance. Okay, have a rest. Come off your wrists. Circle your wrists, shake them out. All right. From here, I want you to think of bringing one foot up into a high kneel position. And we're going to stand up sort of nice and tall. So I don't want you to think of tucking your tailbone under, but I do want you to think of a string coming from the base of your spine, winding all the way up and pulling out the top of your head like a marionette string. Keep that sense of lift and up. And now it's as though that puppeteer is bringing your string forward. So you're going to touch the ground with the opposite hand, but I want you to keep lengthened through the spine, particularly through your lower back. Don't let yourself curve. Remember, we're resisting gravity here. Now from here, I want you to hook underneath your thigh, lift up, and this time we are curving into our back muscles. Relax and extend into that lengthened position. And then I want you to bring that arm up toward the ceiling and rotate. Come underneath the leg, lift up against the thigh, lift into a bit of a cat stretch. You've done a cat stretch before. And then come and rotate. And lift and rotate. Again, if you're hypermobile, don't let yourself go as far back as you can. Keep those fingertips up toward the ceiling. You can imagine from that position of flattening out through the spine, we're actually thinking of rotating and around. If it helps, you can actually wrap the ribs, lift against the ribs, and use this hand to twist and pull so that the rib cage, is also turning. Beautiful. From here, I want you to place both hands on the ground. Let's say, let's keep the foot on the outside, and I want you to straighten that knee. Good. Now from there, we're going to try and do the same thing. I want you to open up into a rotation, and then come back down. Replace the hand. Open up into that rotation, and place the hand. Open up into that rotation, and place the hand. If you can, hand goes on the knee, fingertips on the floor. You're going to touch the knee down and extend the knee out. Touch the knee down, extend the knee out. Beautiful. 3, 4, woo. 5, 6, 7, 8, 2 more, 9, 10. 10. Now push into the front leg. Try and have both hands flat onto that front leg. You're going to sit up nice and tall. If you can, lift one hand to the ceiling, lift the other hand to the ceiling. You're trying to get a little bit of sense of lift and lengthen through the front of the abdominals. A few nice deep breaths here. Beautiful. Reach around with the arms. Replace them either side, not either side, same side of the foot. Allow the foot to return and then back again. Coming back to where we started in that 4-point kneel position, you're bending the elbows, straightening the elbows, hovering. And when you do this, I want you to think about whether or not the movement feels different. Does it feel different to the first time you did it? Are you noticing that getting the support and the lift through one side of the body and adding that rotation aspect in has actually helped the stability of one side? Maybe, maybe not. That's all right. Bring the opposite leg through to that high kneel position. Now from here, I don't think I got you to do much here, did I? We're just hinging. From here, we're hinging forward. Hand goes onto the ground, reaching underneath the leg, and we're lifting up against it and creating a bit of a curve through the bottom part of the back. And then open and twist, reach toward the ceiling. Curve underneath, pull into that cat stretch. And then open and twist. So part of the reason we're doing this is because if you're really stiff through your lower back and aren't able to rotate through your upper back, you're only going to be able to get so much availability for your abdominal muscles. And this beautiful, gentle rotation is going to feed into what I want you to do for the rest of the week. So it's all going to make sense. Good. Let's go, hands go either side, and you're going to straighten into that lunge position, touch the knee back down again. Straighten, touch the knee back down. 10 of these. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Keep the legs straight, and we're wrapping. Coming back. 2. If you can decide where the weight is going. I want some of the weight in the foot, some of the weight in that hand that's on the floor. If your wrist is sore, you might be finding your leg is doing more of the work. If your legs are feeling tired, maybe your wrist is doing more of the work. Let's try one more. Beautiful. One hand on that leg. Press up. Ooh, this one's a little bit more of a wider lunge. Arms up to the ceiling. Really feel that length through that side of the abdominals. Front of the hip flexor. Couple of breaths here. Beautiful. Arms spiral all the way around. Both sides of the legs. Return that knee. Come back into that 4-point kneel position. And then come back onto the knees and give your wrists a shake. Well done. How does that feeling so far? Good. Come onto your side. So if you've got a Pilates ball or something similar or a rolled up towel, this can be helpful. Not absolutely necessary. If you don't have a ball, all you're going to be doing is sitting on your side like this, but I want your focus to be on this bottom rib cage. I don't want you to let it sink down. So you're going to be lifting up through that rib cage, and we're lifting the hips up and then back down again. If you have the ball can be quite useful to go underneath the rib cage. So you can think of it more of a pivot point. So you're lifting up, you're not necessarily lifting off the ball, although you may, but what it does stop you doing is sinking down into the ball. I want you to lift away from it. We're doing 10 on one side. It's harder to talk the hotter it gets and the more I work. Good. Let's go to the other side. So again, ball, no ball. underneath the rib cage, lifting away from that shoulder. And we lift up. All right, beautiful. Sit up straight. That's just the thing, I want you to sit up straight. So coming into a comfortable seated position, you can be sitting on a chair. And I want you to imagine where your spine is sitting. So if I go from the side, what I don't want you to feel like is that you're coming forward. I don't also want you to feel like you're shoving your chest forward and really pushing through this part of your upper back. What we want to do, that marionette string that I spoke about from the beginning, so think of it coming from the tailbone. Think of it weaving its way, that string, all the way up the spine, all the way out through the top of your head. A nice puppeteer, just pulling that string up and still allowing you to breathe. So that puppeteer is lifting that string up, but then I want you to imagine that you're standing in the shower, or if you want something more exotic, you're standing underneath a waterfall. Now from that waterfall, I want you to imagine that water is coming down, falling down the front of your body. And what it does is it relaxes your chest, relaxes your shoulders, relaxes your rib cage. So we've got that marionette string pulling up, but this beautiful waterfall or shower hitting our body and allowing us to come back down again. And this is that sense of uprightness that I want you to carry throughout the day. So it's not that we're really thinking of standing upright and using all the muscles that we can possibly do to stand upright, nor are we allowing ourselves to give in to gravity. So this whole idea of anti-gravity, I want you to think of that marionette string lifting you up and the waterfall allowing you to relax back down again. I hope that makes sense. If you have any questions, please feel free to ask them, or I can go into a little bit more detail in various ways as to how that actually looks and works. I have one more exercise though, keeping this sense of length in the body. Ideally, on your knees. If this is too tricky on your knees, you can do it laying down on the floor as well. So if you're on the floor, you're laying out nice and long with the leg outstretched. If possible, you're doing the same thing but from this high kneeling position. So I'm going to get you to straighten one leg out to the side. Ideally, this hand is going on the ground. For me, my wrist doesn't want to be extended anymore, so I'm going to make a fist onto the ground. Keep nice and long, that sense of length up through the top of my head. And I'm going to lift and lower that leg. I want you to do that 10 times. Two more. Beautiful. And we're swapping sides. 10 of these. 2. Marionette string all the way out the top of the head. Turning my head down toward the ground means my neck isn't overworking. Beautiful. Last thing we're going to do is bring all of this beautiful, delicious movement together. So I want you to achieve the position. So if you were doing that on the ground, do come up into a kneeling position. I'm not going to leave you here for very long. If you need a chair or something to be higher, by all means have the chair. Reach out to the side and you can use the chair to do this. Otherwise, we're coming down to the ground. I want you to lift 5 times here. 2, 3, 4. On the 5th one, we're holding it up. I want you to bend this knee into your chest and we're going to pivot into that position we were in before. You're straightening the back leg. I want you to lift under the rib cage and open up to the side. I want you to press down in the hand on the knee, come up into that high kneel and reach up to the ceiling. marionette string up, waterfall back down. Reaching up and around. We're coming with both hands. If you can come into a plank, if you need to be on your knees, please do. We're coming down all the way to the ground. Hands behind you, and I want you to lift the hands up from the floor. You can have the head down. I've just got my head up because my microphone's going to be blocked otherwise. Hands come underneath the shoulders. Push all the way back. Bottom reaches your feet. Come up to a 4-point kneel. We're going to so we're going to face the opposite direction now. So I'm going to get you to swivel both knees to the side, extend that foot out, and here we are to start the other side. We're doing 5 lifts. 1, 2, 3, 4. Hold the 5th one. Bring the knee into the center and pivot into a lunge position. Straightening the back leg, lifting from the ribs, opening up to the ceiling. Coming down, pressing the knee. Join it with the second hand. Lift up straight, marionette string all the way up to the ceiling, waterfall coming back down. Reach all the way down. Leg goes back to kneeling or to straight legs, whichever you need. Coming all the way down to the floor. Nice and slowly. Straighten the arms back and hold. Beautiful. Hands underneath your shoulders. Push all the way back so your bottom touches your feet if you can. Back up into a kneeling position, and we're swiveling around. I'm coming back to face you again. So swivel around, high kneel position, and extend. I'm going to go one more round now that you understand all the movements that we're piecing together. So hand comes down. 5 lifts. 2, 3, 4. 5th one, hold. Bend the knee in and swivel. Take the back foot off and twist. Hand plants onto the knee, join it with the other, stand up tall, reach up to the ceiling. Marionette string, waterfall comes all the way down. Replace the leg, stay in a push-up if you can this time, and come all the way down to the ground. Lengthen the arms behind you. And hold. If you're feeling this in your lower back, make sure the head is on the ground. Hands underneath the shoulders, pushing all the way back. Bottom reaches the feet. Up into a 4-point kneel. Swivel the knees around to the other side. Reaching down. Lift and lower 5 times. 2, 3, 4, 5. Bend that knee in, swivel, and straighten into a lunge. Reach up to the ceiling. Hand on the knee, replace it with the second hand, woo, and reach up to the ceiling. Marionette string lifting, waterfall coming down. Reach and flow all the way down. Join it with the leg and come down to the ground. Hands reach behind you, up off the ground. Head down if your lower back is feeling this. Make sure your legs and your bottom are relaxed. Hands under the shoulders. Push all the way back to cat stretch. Now from here, bring the hands in a little bit more. And if possible, I just like to actually bring my hands up in front of my forehead and rest my forehead in my hands. Close your eyes. I'm just taking a few nice breaths in this position. Hands on the ground. Now use your hands to walk your way up your knees, up your thighs. And standing up, sitting up, nice and tall. How do you feel? Thank you for joining me for anti-gravity. It was a pleasure to teach you today. We've got a lot more coming that I'm very, very excited about. Until next time though, I will hope you join me on the mat very soon. Thank you. Bye.